Chismosas, the tea is really heating up between Cazzu and Nodal, because if you guys haven't already seen, Cazzu recently made it to Mexico where the media was waiting for her, and she decided to give a little mini press conference where she spilled some massive tea about her and Nodal's status, right? Now, obviously, since she was spilling some really good ass tea, this got back to Nodal, and this man was like, I cannot afford any more bad press. So he immediately released a statement basically contradicting everything that Cazzu said, and we need to talk about it because this is so crazy. The back and forth is getting so crazy that we need to talk about it. Now, very quickly, Cazzu essentially was asked about Inti because she showed up in Mexico with Inti, and we all know in a recent interview she was saying that she couldn't take Inti with her outside of Argentina because Nodal refused to sign a court order to allow her to take her daughter outside of Argentina because he was being petty. Now, obviously, people were assuming that Nodal finally signed off on the actual paperwork so she could take Inti, but she was like, no, that's not what happened. He still hasn't given in. I had to go to a judge, and then the judge signed the paperwork for me so I could go, but I had to prove that I had to take my daughter with me. And then she just continues to double down on the fact that he is not being a good dad and essentially not wanting to see his daughter. And she's like, you know, the last time that we talked was some mediation that we had where we talked about some things. And you know what, like, if he wants to see her, we're in Mexico, he knows that he can see her. And the last time that we actually communicated was through his lawyer, because his lawyer was like, hey, can he see Inti? And she was like, yes, of course, like, I'm not gonna keep you from seeing your own daughter. So she goes on saying things like that, right? So obviously Nodal was like, oh shit, now everybody's on to me and they know that I'm a terrible person. So he released this statement. Obviously the statement is in Spanish and it's super long, so I'm gonna do my best. I threw this in ChatGPT and got a small summary for you guys, so let's get into that. So legally, he said his lawyer says he's paying well beyond what Argentine law requires for child support with official documentation proving it. He's like, you know, I could prove that I'm not a deadbeat. I'm giving money. And then he's denying accusations about travel permissions. The statement insists he never refused to grant the mother permission to travel with the child, even when she asked last minute. And then he goes on to call out Cazzu for talking about the mediation. I saw that, I peeped that. They're trying to intimidate her, like, hey, you shouldn't be talking about that mediation, because they're like, oh, in the Argentine law, you shouldn't be talking about the mediations. The lawyer says the child's mother publicly spoke about a private mediation process, which legally should remain confidential under Argentine law. What are you trying to hide, Nodal? Then he's like, you know what? I want to see my daughter. The lawyer emphasizes that Nodal wants to contact with his daughter and has formally proposed a visitation plan, but that the mother's side hasn't responded. Sounds fake. Then it says he's starting the process for his daughter's Mexican nationality and passport. This is framed as him wanting his daughter to share his cultural roots and opportunities as a Mexican citizen. He's asking for the media to stop spreading false or one-sided information. Now, I thought this summary was so funny because ChatGPT is being so messy, because it's like, if you read between the lines, he's trying to say I'm a responsible father and that the mother is being unfair and manipulative. Now, I find it very, very funny that he is trying to clap back so quickly right now that his career is going right down the hill, and she is basically saying like, hey, you know what, like, I'm fine. I'm not going to do any type of interview, because they asked her, like, would you be willing to do a tell-all? And she's like, no, I don't need to do that. Like, I have a clear conscience. I don't need to go out there and be like, no this, no that, no this, because I know what happened and I don't have to be like trying to cover my ass. I don't need to do that. But anyways, I am very sure you guys have a lot to say about this. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and don't forget to like and follow for more gossip, chisme, and all things tea.